Hey yo, what is going on, viewers of the tube? If it's your first time here, I'm your host Tyler, and I would like to officially welcome you back from your weekend.
You know we finally here, right?
Well,
It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday again, it's Saturday, Sunday,
It's Friday, then it's Saturday, Sunday, what? And unfortunately Monday. But we will keep that party going because it's time for Chico Crypto. Keep the party going on a Monday? Well, Friday in my last fully produced video, I predicted 10K Bitcoin was coming because traditional markets are most likely getting wrecked today. Why? Well, because of the coronavirus, the entire Chinese stock exchange was shut down, or it still is. So I shot this video all the way back last week on Friday, and I already knew the traditional markets were going to have a rough beginning of this week. Both outcomes today, whatever happened, are not good. Either China opened their markets, leading to a massive correction, or they delayed opening them again, kicking the can further down the road, saving the major correction for another day. So two major regional stock exchanges are blacked out in the east, the Shenzhen Stock Exchange and the Shanghai Stock Exchange. As we can see, regionally, these closures will most likely have bigger effects on exchanges more closely tied to the two. Hong Kong has the closest tie to China, hands down. And across the board sell-off in Hong Kong stocks has been seen since the outbreak. The Seng index, which is basically the Dow Jones for the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, has been going down since January 15th. That is just the 1 month chart for the Seng. Pulling out the all-time chart, doesn't it look like a bubble might be getting ready to pop? So today, what should we be seeing in the traditional markets? Well, stocks and commodities should certainly fall, especially in China, which will have ripple effects into every market. Commodities like ag products. We talked about those complexities on Friday, especially focused on the current trade deal between China and the US. I am certain that commodities got crushed today. How about equities and stocks? Well, it's obvious to see if you pay attention. Before the weekend, the amount of short selling between US and Hong Kong traded shares reached an astounding amount of over $337 million. Here's a list of the following stocks with the highest amount of new short selling. All Chinese companies: Trip.com, Baidu, China Mobile, GDS Holding, Baozun, and even Weibo. And guess what? Just like in the crypto markets where leverage is used, basically borrowing money to hopefully multiply gains, it is even more common in the traditional markets. Checking out FINRA margin debt since November. Explosion in borrowed and leveraged funds. Over $20 billion, the highest level it has been in 11 months. Thus, we can make the assumption that this will exacerbate the selling pressure and could lead to a downward spiral where steep losses become steeper as traders face margin calls. And what could increase the pain even further is the Chinese government bailing out banks, corporations, and more as the coronavirus halts all of their profits. Industrial property and food giant in China, Xiwang Group, is failing to pay back a massive $143 billion loan it took out in October of 2018, which was supposed to be paid back in 1 year. According to this Kaixin article, the group warned in October that it might not be able to make the payment on time, said the main underwriter of the debt, China Zheshang Bank Company Ltd. They have been negotiating with investors to get an extension. The official announcement of a default on October 24th triggered defaults on 4 other debt securities, amounting to 2.3 billion yuan. Filings show, including 1 short-term commercial paper set to mature in December and 3 super short-term commercial papers, a term used for debt with a maturity of 9 months or less. So this adds to the nervousness as it's set to become the largest liquidity event of its kind in China, with banks due to repay it early this year. If they don't, more Chinese government bailouts will have to happen. And that is just for one entity, Xiwang Group. Another massive group is facing the same thing. China's LVMH, or Shadong Riyu Technology Group, will face debt repayments throughout the beginning of the year. And they are in trouble. According to this Vogue Business article, these factors culminated in December in debt rating agencies Moody's downgrading Shadong Riyu's corporate rating. The new rating reflects its heightened refinancing risk, given its large upcoming debt maturities, continued weak liquidity, and limited progress on its refinancing plans, according to the firm. S&P also reduced its rating to CCC+, which indicates a high-risk or junk bond, in mid-November, but Riyu recently requested that the opinion be withdrawn. So what? It's a Chinese company. How will it affect the world? Well, China is a global conglomerate now, who have their tentacles everywhere. For example, Shadong Riyu now owns French group Sandro Mahé Claude Perlot, SMCP, Swiss shoemaker Bali, and British brands Aquascutum, TM Lewin, and Gives and Hawks. They even purchased Lycra from DuPont for $2 billion in 2019. They are global, and they are going to fail to pay back these debts. So, BTC, it performs well in Black Swan events. It is the new form of value, and many consider it Gold 2.0. Well, because of that, let's pull out Gold 1.0 and its chart compared with Gold 2.0 and its chart over the past month. They look extremely similar, pushing up consistently and surging more and more as Corona news spreads. Chaos, it's great news for Bitcoin, but we here at Chico Crypto bring a wholesome, well-rounded view of the markets. We don't always scream, pamp, pamp, pamp. We bring content that might make your stomach upset a little bit. Do you remember QuadrigaCX, the now defunct crypto exchange which lost over $200 million in customer funds? Well, that case is shrouded in mystery. The death of the CEO Gerald Cotton, how he supposedly took the entire stash of crypto to the grave with him, and more. I'm not going to get into the full details of any of that. There is a ton of information online if you are interested. What we are going to talk about is who was appointed by the Nova Scotia Supreme Court to search for and monitor the lost funds, and then hopefully return what they can to the exchange customers. None other than cryptocurrency-involved Big Four accounting firm, Ernst & Young. So in February of this year, Quadriga still had some funds in hot and cold wallets that Gerald Cotton didn't have full control of. Well, the funds, they were sent to Ernst & Young, but they unfortunately messed up big time with the transfer of 104 Bitcoin, where they lost more money. According to this CoinDesk article, it was a costly blunder to Quadriga's cold wallets, of which Gerald controlled her. And further in the article, EY addressed this transfer, saying it occurred due to a platform setting error by the applicants that resulted in Bitcoin being automatically transferred to Quadriga's cold wallet.
Oopsie doopsie doopsie.
Yikes. And the creditors, the ones who lost their money, they became upset. And that upsetness kept coming in June when the judge overseeing the case approved $1.6 million in expenses for Ernst and the law firms, which would be taken out of creditors' repayments funds. Yay! So those creditors began to lose faith in the whole process until October, when Ernst & Young became more aggressive, when the widow of Gerald Cotton was forced to forfeit $12 million in assets to the accounting firm for repayments to customers. Then, just a couple days ago, even better news, an update regarding the exhumation of Gerald Cotton's body for a post-mortem autopsy. Ernst & Young law firm Miller Thomas said, today, Representative Counsel issued a letter to the Honorable Bill Blair, Canadian Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, requesting an update on whether the RCMP will conduct an exhumation and post-mortem autopsy on the alleged body of Gerald Cotton prior to spring 2020. And then this CoinDesk article shines light into what is going on. Law enforcement activities. According to EY, much of this billing comes from analyzing 750 documents the company compiled into an e-discovery database, which was then used to determine which documents met production demands from various law enforcement agencies involved. Law enforcement? Huh? Who could this be? Well, from this January 14th article, the FBI is reaching out to QuadrigaCX victims. What could the FBI want? Isn't this a Canadian exchange? Well, why do you think Miller Thomas, the lawyers, want that body exhumed? Because either they don't believe it is there or some foul play went down. Who could this possible foul play be tied to? Well, Miller Thomas just last week requested information about the Tether shadow bank Crypto Capital. And going to archive snapshots of Crypto Capital's website, Quadriga was a for sure customer. The Tether bomb, it is coming. So when you hear from those more involved and deeper than me in the space, like one of the most influential people in crypto and Bitcoin, Anthony Pompliano, saying, "Unpopular opinion, the Tether news doesn't matter. Nobody outside a very small group of cryptocurrency enthusiasts even understand it or cares." You just have to shake your head. And then the guy is butt-sniffing CZ and Binance's bunghole. Per example, these tweets. Then, CZ sniffing his bum right back. And this tweet, putting CZ in the same category as Andreas. What the freak? Especially as you watch how involved CZ is with USDT from a previous video of mine. Now remember Shadong, Bitfinex shareholder. He is extremely tight with Bitfinex, even posting this picture with CFO Giancarlo Devanisi, claiming to have seen Tether bank accounts fully full. Well, Zhao isn't only a shareholder in Bitfinex, but he's also an angel investor and advisor in Binance, according to the first release of their white paper. Need more evidence that CZ is a part of the Tether cartel? How about this conversation with the crypto lark?
Now, I did want to ask you as well, there's been a lot of accusations made against the guys over at Tether. How do you feel about that situation? What are your thoughts on it?
My general feeling is that there's always more FUD in the community than there are positive things. And the FUD is usually more overreactive. I did meet with the key guy from Bitfinex in person a couple of weeks ago, and we did talk about this issue. And there was a couple of other guys who I trust to a fairly high degree. They said they have looked at the accounts.
Yes, CZ met with the Tether execs, and a couple people he trusts looked into their accounts, aka Shadong. So he is obviously highly involved with the USDT hustle and bustle, and his party will come to an end as Bitcoin and USDT can and will be tracked since the creation of Crypto Capital. Why do you think they are switching USDT to Tron lately? CZ's buddy's chain. It's a DPoS chain they can hide everything with as Justin and his cronies control all the nodes. Is it a little too late? We will have to see. Cheers. I'll see you next time.